Please all stand and remain standing until the conclusion of the reading of the proclamation. Ladies and gentlemen, the proclamation. All persons having any business before this honorable court now draw nigh. Give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Patrick James Asti.
May it please the court, I move that Patrick James Asti be admitted as a lawyer of this honorable court.
That Patrick James Asti be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Georgia Berryman.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter, Georgia Elizabeth Berryman, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Georgia Elizabeth Berryman be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mahima Kunj Bindi.
May it please the court, I move that Mahima Kunj Bindi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Mahima Kunj Bindi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Vithushana Chandrasekhar.
May it please the court, I move that my sister Vidhushana Chandrasekhar be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Vidhushana Chandrasekhar be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Bakyo Chor.
May it please the court, I move that Bakyu Chaw be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Bakyu Chaw be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alicia Chia.
May it please the court, I move that Alicia Chia be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Alicia Chia be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jo Maria Cherfan.
May it please the court, I move that Jo Maria Cherfan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Jo Maria Cherfan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michelle Sonia Chidiak.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter, Michelle Sonia Chidiak, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Michelle Sonia Chidiak be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alison Ann Clark.
May it please the court, I move that Alison Ann Clark be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Alison Ann Clark be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Brandon James Corcoran.
May it please the court, I move that Brandon James Corcoran be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Brandon James Corcoran be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Meg Lucinda Dalco.
May it please the court, I move that Meg Lucinda Dalco be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Meg Lucinda Dalco be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tessa Dawes.
May it please the court, I move that Tessa Dawes be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Tessa Dawes be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Martin Hubert Edmilau.
May it please the court, I move that Martin Hubert Edmilau be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Martin Hubert Edmilau be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sebastian Luis Fernandez.
May it please the court, I move that Sebastian Luis Fernandez be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Sebastian Luis Fernandez be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Samuel Alexander Fitzgerald.
May it please the court, I proudly submit that my godson, Samuel Alexander Fitzgerald, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Samuel Alexander Fitzgerald be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kylie Jane Fuentes.
May it please the court, I move that Kylie Jane Fuentes be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable
That
court.
Kylie Jane Fuentes be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Louisa Leyi Ho.
May it please the court, I move that Louisa Leyi Ho be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Louisa Leyi Ho be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Llewellyn Vaughan Horgan.
May it please the court, I move that Llewellyn Vaughan Horgan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Llewellyn Vaughan Horgan be admitted as a as a lawyer of this court.
Nicole Christina Hurst.
May it please the court, I move that Nicole Christina Hurst be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Nicole Christina Hurst be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ryan Iskander.
May it please the court, I move that Ryan Iskander be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ryan Iskander be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michael Thomas Johnson.
May it please the court, I move that Michael Thomas Johnson be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Michael Thomas Johnson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Caitlin Diana Kelly.
May it please the court, I move that Caitlin Diana Kelly be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Caitlin Diana Kelly be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Frederick Wilhelm Coagelenberg.
May it please the court, I move that Frederick Willem Coagelenberg be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Frederick Wilhelm Coagelenberg be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ella Ruby Logan.
May it please the court, I move that Ella Ruby Logan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ella Ruby Logan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alicia Shivana Mackenzie.
May it please the court, I move that Alicia Shivana McKenzie be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alicia Shivana McKenzie be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sarah Nicole Melville.
May it please the court, I move that Sarah Nicole Melville be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sarah Nicole Melville be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sean Vincent Mullen.
May it please the court, I move that Sean Vincent Mullen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sean Vincent Mullen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Bradley James Murphy.
May it please the court, I move that Bradley James Murphy be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Bradley James Murphy be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christian James Nemi.
May it please the court, I move that Christian James Nemi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Christian James Nemi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
David O'Carroll.
May it please the court, give me great pleasure to move that David O'Carroll be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let David O'Carroll be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alex Namgyu Park.
May it please the court, I move that Alex Namgyu Park be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alex Namgyu Park be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Luke James Pedlow.
May it please the court, I move that Luke James Pedlow be admitted as a lawyer in this honourable court.
Let Luke James Pedlow be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Paris J. Roditis.
May it please the court, I move that Paris J. Roditis be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Paris J. Roditis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Melissa Nargis Safar.
May it please the court, I move that my sister Melissa Nargis Safar be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Melissa Nargis Safar be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sarita Samli Rankul.
May it please the court, I move that Sarita Samli Rangukul be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sarita Samli Rankul be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Annabelle Molly Ceresia.
May it please the court, I move that Annabelle Molly Ceresia be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Annabelle Molly Ceresia be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mansoor Shahzada.
May it please the court, I move that Mansoor Shahzada be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Mansoor Shahzada be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christopher Stephen Smith.
May it please the court, I move that Christopher Stephen Smith be admitted as a lawyer to this honourable court.
Let Christopher Stephen Smith be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
New Kam Chow Tran.
May it please the court, I move that New Kam Chow Tran be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let New Kam Chow Tran be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lam An Tran.
May it please the court, I move that Lam An Tran be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Lam An Tran be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Martika Renee Trepanovska.
May it please the court, I move that Martika Renee Trepanovska be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Martika Renee Trepanovska be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mark Gil Justo Velasquez.
May it please the court, I move that Mark Gil Justo Velasquez be admitted as a lawyer of this honorable court.
That Mark Gil Justo Velasquez be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Prabhash Marlon Wijasinha.
May it please the court, I move that Prabhash Marlan Vijay Singh be admitted as a lawyer of this honorable court.
That Prabhash Marlan Wijasinha be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yan Wu.
May it please the court, I move that my friend Yan Wu be admitted as a lawyer of this honorable court.
That Yan Wu be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yu Yong Zhou.
May it please the court, I move that Yu Yong Zhou be admitted as a lawyer of this honorable court.
That Yu Yong Zhou be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michelle Lin Zhu.
May it please the court, I move that Michelle Lin Zhu be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Michelle Lin Zhu be admitted as a lawyer of this court. It will now be necessary for those applicants whose admission has just been moved to stand as directed and remain standing for the purposes of swearing an oath or making a declaration or affirmation. So please stand as directed by Mr. Banks.
First two rows to my right, please stand. Patrick James Asti, Georgia Berryman, Mahima Bindi, Vithushana Chandrasekhar, Bakyo Chor, Alicia Chia, Jo Maria Cherfun, Michelle Sonia Chidiak, Alison Ann Clark, Brandon James Corcoran, Meg Lucinda Dalco, Tessa Dawes, Martin Hubert Edmilau, Sebastian Luis Fernandez, Samuel Alexander Fitzgerald, Kylie Jane Fuentes. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state, according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Please say together either, "So help me God," or "I do."
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Third and fourth rows to my right, please stand. Louisa Luryi Ho, Llewellyn Vaughan Horgan, Nicole Christina Hurst, Ryan Iskander, Michael Thomas Johnson, Caitlin Diana Kelly, Frederick Wilhelm Coaglenberg, Ella Ruby Logan, Alicia Shivana McKenzie, Sarah Nicole Melville, Sean Vincent Mullen, Bradley James Murphy, Christian James Nemi, David O'Carroll, Alex Namguk Park, Luke James Pedlow, Paris J. Roditis, Melissa Nargis Safar, Sarita Samli Rankul. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state, according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Please say together either, "So help me God," or "I do."
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Annabelle Molly Sarisa. Oh, I'm sorry. First and second row to my left, please stand. Annabelle Molly Sarisia, Mansur Shahzada, Christopher Stephen Smith, New Kamchow Tran, Lam Ann Tran, Martika Renee Trepanovska, Markil Justo Velasquez, Prabhash Marlan Wijasinha, Yan Wu, Yu Yong Zhou, Michelle Lin Zhu. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Please say together either, "So help me God," or "I do."
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Well, may I warmly welcome you all to the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Present with me on the bench today to my right is Justice Stevenson of the Equity Division of the Court, and to my left, Justice Williams, also a member of the Equity Division of the Supreme Court. And together we constitute the court that has, in the exercise of our jurisdiction, admitted you to practice this afternoon. We've done so sitting on the land for which the Gadigal people have cared and been custodians for thousands of years, and the court pays its respects to the Gadigal elders past, present, and extends those respects to all First Nations people. To all the new lawyers here today, welcome to the legal profession. Today is one worthy of great celebration for you all. We know that you've all worked extremely hard to get here. Countless late nights of study, obscure problem questions, reading wafer-thin pages of textbooks or screen after screen after screen, and more cases than you could ever hope to remember. And for most of you, your journey has involved two extraordinarily challenging final years affected by the pandemic, and in which you have been deprived of many of the opportunities for the forging of close bonds with your peers that those final years usually present. So you have faced and come through an additional adversity unprecedented in our lifetimes, and that makes your achievement in reaching this step all the more impressive, and it makes the resilience that you will have developed, it means that the resilience you will have developed will stand you well into the future. In being admitted as a lawyer of this court, you join an honourable and ancient profession with the custom of advocates swearing an oath on admission to practice dating back to the 12th century. This court first admitted lawyers almost 200 years ago in 1824, and by 1830 the names of lawyers were entered onto the rolls in this state, just as you will do immediately after this ceremony. I'm also very pleased to welcome to the court those with you today or watching on the live stream. For many of you, the support of family and friends will have been invaluable on your journey to this point. No doubt they've also been on the receiving end of your finely polished or developing skills of argument and persuasion. I encourage you to take the time to thank them today, and depending on how good an advocate you are, you might even convince them to buy you some drinks or dinner after the ceremony. Well, the law touches every part of our society, and it can and will lead you all in many different directions and career paths. But in whatever direction you head, you must always remember that the oath or affirmation you have just made is a serious one and deserves solemn regard, whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, in legal aid, in a Crown Law office, a government department or agency, or in an entirely different field. You should be known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice, and must strive at all times to uphold these cardinal values. Admission as a member of the legal profession in New South Wales is a privilege, it is not a right. It is in acknowledgement of this weighty or these weighty responsibilities that we observe today's unique formalities, including the fact that your admission has been moved by someone who was already a member of the legal profession, and that you have made a formal oath or affirmation in the presence of your family and peers. They are all witnesses, as are we, to the promises and undertakings you have made today. As to formality, you will see from some of the portraits of former Chief Justices on the walls of this court that we are wearing the same robes, in some cases literally, as have been worn by our predecessors. Symbolically, that highlights the continuity of the rule of law in New South Wales, although the judges wearing the robes are now drawn from an increasingly diverse pool. As to continuity of the rule of law, in a world in which there is much global uncertainty and insecurity, the rule of law is more important than ever, and not simply a phrase of some academic or theoretical interest. The rule of law is the opposite of the arbitrary abuse of power and the rule of autocratic dictators and populists. And we know, looking around the world, that there is nothing theoretical about that phenomenon. Although we mark this occasion with formality and tradition, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanging. The pandemic, for example, meant a rapid shift to increased use of virtual courtroom technology to ensure access to justice continued in the midst of the pandemic, whilst open justice, effective communication and fairness to participants were not sacrificed. And technology has delivered greater workplace flexibility, which is especially important for lawyers with family responsibilities. It's also had a profound impact and has profound implications for how our legal system interacts with and may become accessible to many people, including those in rural or remote areas, those with a disability, medical conditions, or carers' responsibilities. But although the increased use of technology offers a number of advantages, the practice of the law has human nature and human interaction at its core. An essential part of being a good lawyer is knowing and understanding people, knowing how others react to different situations, perform under pressure, and deal with each other. And as I said at my recent swearing-in speech as Chief Justice earlier this year, whilst the remote practice of the law may be possible, it is far from desirable. The law is fundamentally about people and human interaction. There are, of course, other changes to the legal profession that deserve attention in addition to those brought about by the pandemic. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, there is something of a duality. We have come a long way, but on the other hand, much still needs to be done. For example, although it seems extraordinary to us here today, for many, many, many years, decades, women were not even permitted to practice law. But since 2018, women have made up more than half of all of the solicitors with a practising certificate in New South Wales and currently make up over 2/3 of solicitors in New South Wales under the age of 30. And women occupy many of the most senior positions in the law in Australia, including our current Chief Justice of the High Court, the Chief Justices of Victoria, Queensland and the ACT, the President of our own Court of Appeal, and the Commonwealth and State Directors of Public Prosecutions, and indeed the New South Wales Senior Public Defender. But beyond gender diversity, there should also be strong representation of lawyers from the many different backgrounds which comprise our cosmopolitan community. Diverse representation amongst solicitors, advocates and judges assists in ensuring that all people who become involved in the justice system can and feel that they can be properly heard and fairly engaged with by a system reflective of our broader community. The admission ceremonies on which I have sat since becoming a judge almost 4 years ago, including this ceremony, highlight that there is a far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than when I commenced practice 30 odd years ago. That is a very good thing, and leaders of the profession and of the courts are working hard to foster inclusiveness and diversity. You, the newly admitted lawyers, enter the profession at a time when, more than ever, I think, your words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, whether it be speaking out about unfair laws, systematic failings affecting society's most vulnerable, or unsustainable working cultures, sexual harassment and bullying. You should speak up for the things that matter and in which you believe. That is part of the fine tradition of being a lawyer. I also urge you to engage with your communities outside your immediate jobs. Your training as lawyers in systematic thought and the importance of matters of principle and fundamental fairness, including due process and natural justice, equip you very well for service beyond the day-to-day practice and in the wider community. You will also derive, I think, great satisfaction from such extracurricular engagement. Now, turning from opportunities to obligations, and I hope a little bit of helpful and friendly advice. As a lawyer, you will often need to make difficult ethical decisions. That is often the nature of the problems we confront. You must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court and the administration of justice. And one mistake which you must not make is to fall into the temptation of giving your clients the advice you think they want to hear. I can assure you that that will not be good advice. Justice Gageler, before he was a High Court judge, said, and I quote, You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same questions for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question or for what purpose or in what context the asking may occur. That was coming from that very fine judge, very sound advice, as one might expect. Being a lawyer means that you are an advisor, a problem solver, a mediator, and an advocate. And as you go about your day-to-day work, remember that you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum, but law as it applies to people's lives. An individual in need of your services as a lawyer is in many cases an individual facing some kind of great personal challenge or crisis affecting his or her liberty, property, personal well-being, or health or financial position. For these reasons, you must always strive to deliver legal services sensitively, competently and fearlessly, yes, but always with courtesy and integrity. And in that context, I want to emphasise the importance of civility in the practice of the law. Aspects of the law, especially if you're involved in the litigation side of practice in fighting court cases, is confrontational. The practice of the law can be stressful and demanding enough without personal animus and antagonism between practitioners adding to the load. So it's essential that you maintain your detachment, balance and good humour at all times, remembering that you are members of a profession and not a business. In other words, although in litigation you are involved in a clash and a competition and trying to win, winning at all costs is not appropriate. Civility and courtesy in the practice of the profession is what we must insist on. And remember this, the best advocates can and do make their point simply and succinctly. Often less is more. Some of the most experienced lawyers and judges could use that reminder from time to time, and I don't exclude myself from that. For a non-lawyer, the law is often remote, even incomprehensible. And one of your important roles as a lawyer will be to make the law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, sometimes both. Strive to be clear and concise at all times in both your writing and in your speaking. Now, at various points of your career, you will undoubtedly make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. We all make mistakes from time to time, especially when we're starting off on something new, as you are. What is important is you try not to make the same mistake twice, and if you do make mistakes or a mistake, that your commitment to honesty, integrity, and the administration of justice means you must take responsibility, ownership, correct what you can, and learn from those errors. I wish to emphasise that in the practice of the law, your physical and mental health are both extremely important. There may, and I dare say will be times when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out, or distressed. Legal practice can be all-consuming and physically and mentally demanding. Now, that is often because lawyers will want to go the extra mile for their client. They will work hard long into the night trying to find the solution, prepare the advice to give comfort and assurance to their clients. But the demanding, all-consuming nature of those tasks can come at a cost of physical and mental well-being. So you must work hard to keep your balance and keep your eye out to ensure that your colleagues do so as well. If you do get overwhelmed by it all, as frankly we have all done from time to time and occasionally still do, try to take a step back and recapture some perspective, or suggest gently to your colleagues who you think may have got out of whack that they do so as well. In this context, you should know that the law is a highly collegiate profession, and in times of difficulty, the support and friendship of your professional colleagues will prove invaluable. And both the two peak bodies in New South Wales, the Law Society of New South Wales and the Bar Association, are fully attuned to the potential stresses of practice and offer great assistance to practitioners, including and indeed especially young practitioners starting off in the profession. You should be involved with the Law Society or the Bar Association if engaged in professional practice. Take advantage of their assistance and guidance and their programs. Now, may I say this to you all in closing. The law is a wonderful profession. It's stimulating, it's challenging, and it's satisfying. And it is populated by intelligent, committed, and dynamic people such as yourselves. You should be proud to be a lawyer and of your achievements to date, and you should remain proud to be a lawyer. It is a very, very important profession, and you're now a very important part of it. So hold your heads high and the very best of luck on the exciting journey that lies ahead. On behalf of Justice Stevenson, Justice Williams, and myself, and indeed all of our colleagues on the Supreme Court, I once again congratulate you all on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The court will now adjourn.
All stand. This honourable court is now adjourned. God save the Queen.